How many of us educators are feeling the pressure of our chosen profession while struggling to find a balanced work, home, and social life? I, for one, am. Therefore, after many hours of research and numerous ideas for what to complete a research plan on, I finally kept coming back to what would be meaningful and beneficial for me to rediscover and bring excitement, passion, and creativity back into my profession, my own teacher's well-being. I have read many articles around the connections between teacher well-being and successful teaching practices, but never really thought personally about it and how it relates to myself. To begin, I would like to share a poem I wrote when reflecting on where I felt mentally most days. It's called Hitting a Wall. Hitting a wall. Isolating technology, chores building up, never good enough. Exhaustion, inefficiency, and vulnerability. Rush, cut corners, push and pull, repeat. No lunches, forget about exercise, juggling energy, zapping tasks. Late nights, early mornings, no time to spare. Rush, cut corners, push and pull, repeat. Diverse learners, CRP, inclusive ed, mental health, new curriculum, initiatives galore, overwhelming anxieties, marking, planning, and conferring a must, family time, sporting events, homework to complete, meals, cleanup, and sleep. Rush, cut corners, push and pull, repeat. Anger, frustration, and helplessness. Burnout, you can do no more. What quickly became evident was the amount of time, or lack of time, available to complete tasks up to my standards, anxieties I often experienced, and my inability to focus throughout the day. I realized burnout and exhaustion came when I tried to keep everything in the air, when I am trying to do everything except looking out for myself. Therefore, this research study addresses my personal well-being for the hopes of learning more about myself, my values, my choices, and the implications of my actions. The research question I explored was, how can I better prioritize my time management to develop balance needed for my optimal well-being? Teacher well-being is critical to effectively be able to focus on the needs of diverse learners and aim to create socially just and culturally relevant educational experiences. Effectively managing my time is crucial to both my health and my daily performance. Throughout this presentation, I will narrate the story as it unfolded through my research involving self-awareness by reflecting on my own values, how time was spent throughout my day, and how my choices contributed to my well-being. This qualitative and quantitative research project was about understanding the nature of my experiences and practices. Therefore, to begin to make a change for myself, it was important to truly know who I am and be able to define it. Within the question mark are thought-provoking questions used to help identify my definition and understanding of what well-being and wellness meant to me. I came to the realization that well-being meant being healthy, happy, and satisfied with my life, my sense of purpose, and my level of control. Online quizzes confirmed my suspicion that my daily range of stress fell in the too much zone, and I am on a mission to move out of the orange zone and into the red optimal zone. Through my research, I learned how broad the word wellness was and takes into consideration so much more than just time. Wellness falls under the umbrella of 6 categories: physical, emotional, spiritual, intellectual, psychological, and social. After completing a variety of surveys around mindfulness, well-being, and teacher wellness, I thought about the survey questions and reasons why my answers were often no, due to a lack of time or other things taking a priority. This led me to looking deeper into my needs and wants. An example would be looking at social wellness, where friendship and social groups are not always maintained and pushed aside to make room for work priorities. This is also the case for spiritual wellness, when I would love to find time for meditation or engaging in nature for enjoyment. But again, this gets brushed aside due to lack of time. These surveys indicated I was neglecting critical self-care time. For a 3-week period, I began each day with a pre-day scheduling plan. This showed clear evidence of my lack of judgment when estimating the time I actually spend completing tasks. Each day, tasks took longer than anticipated, and I ended up doing more than expected. Many questions resulted from this, such as, did I need to do this? Is it the perfectionist in me? What benefits did this extra effort make in my life? What were the disadvantages or advantages that resulted from my efforts? What are the consequences versus the benefits? This again confirmed the area that most impacted my well-being was time management. Time management affects how I prioritize the importance of tasks. Sleep deprivation can diminish creativity, focus, and even weaken your immune system. If you want to stay alert and at your best in the classroom, getting enough sleep each night is a must. Week 1, I had an average of only 3 solid hours of sleep at a time, with a few additional 1-hour periods prior to beginning the day. Even though I still woke through the night during March break, I was able to gain a solid 5 hours of sleep during the evening and did not need a 4 to 5 p.m. nap as I was feeling more energized through the day. Weeks outside of March break, I noticed the lack of alertness in the morning affected motivation and creativity by me being there but not fully present. The results gathered from my journal research showed how explicit and relevant information around my time management helped to gain a clearer understanding for how I could plan for effective and sustainable changes. This graph was created from my 3-week journal data showing where my time went. I am noticing I am often living in the moment and seeking out tasks I am good at to compensate for tasks I dislike. Adding to procrastination, however, not eliminating draining tasks. By acknowledging what is draining and what is energizing will now allow me to work towards behaving my way into a preferred fashion by shaking up my predictive process and changing my thinking to create more space and flexibility for making decisions based on my own values. These charts are a good snapshot for how my emotional wellness fluctuates based on various tasks. My time helping others was a gratifying feeling for me, yet I realized it came at the cost of adding more stress at the end of my day and taking away from needed family and me time. Even though tasks can be energizing at the moment, the end balance needs to be considered for overall well-being. When my research confirmed the changes that needed to be made, I began to look at my journal and prioritize what needed to be completed, what I valued and what could be dropped. By categorizing my daily tasks, it helps me to focus on setting boundaries, allowing me to strategically drop time-consuming tasks. This first category was considered high priority, where it is a non-negotiable and if left or dropped, things will break. I now know I need to limit the number of tasks I take on, as too many leads to okay results across the board instead of great results, which I am aiming for. Sometimes I will need to drop things just to see if it will bounce and allow me to pick them up later, or if the consequences outweigh the payoff if it drops altogether. The last category was for tasks which may not be as important as I think they are. These tasks exist based on the stories I tell myself and not necessarily reality. These are the tasks that often get in the way of my self-care. It is easy to confuse the non-negotiable responsibilities that I have to myself and others with the self-imposed, deep-seated, but non-essential expectations. The only person who sees them or is impacted by them is myself. Having to complete tasks to perfectionism is one example of this, as well as having to participate on numerous committees is another. So, knowing what I know now, where can I begin to make a change? The biggest surprise was found in the amount of time spent using technologies. Emails, for instance. I often respond immediately to emails and adding more information than needed. Some of these emails could have been shortened or postponed for more effective time management. Maybe have an hour set aside to respond to all emails and not as they come in. This may involve shutting off notifications coming to my phone or leaving my phone in another room. Engaging in internet-related activities counted for the bulk of my time as technology was so readily available, and every question that entered my mind led to me searching for answers, which then led to more questions and becoming inquisitive with my thirst for knowledge. I also noticed I would reach out for my phone at any down time or browse social media to make work projects for myself just because it was so easy and at my fingertips. This is definitely an area for improvement. Each day, there was an average of 3 to 4 off-task opportunities to help others, which encompassed 30 minutes to 2 hours a day, whether it was picking something up for someone, helping with teaching others, or just listening to others to assist in problem solving. This is the part I will find difficult to limit, as helping others gives me a gratifying feeling. Yet I realized it came at the cost of adding more stress at the end of my day and taking away from needed family and me time. I call this slide robbed time, as preparing healthy meals and sitting down with family to bond is where time was often taken from. In my pre-day schedule, I included time for this. However, plans often changed, resulting in picking up prepared food or piecing together food to satisfy hunger and not nutrition. Bonding time seemed to happen only if there was time left at the end of the day. Morning breakfast took the biggest hit, avoiding breakfast and at best grabbing crackers and cheese to maybe eat in the car. Lunch was also absent a number of days as classes were scheduled throughout lunch and time was not made to eat or relax. Exercising and just getting out for a daily fresh air is something I realized needs to become a non-negotiable. After seeing the results of my efforts during March break, not only did I feel much more energized, but it gave me a sense of peace, strength, and confidence. For the past few months, at best, I have only been going for a walk outdoors once or twice per week, as by the time my work is done, it is dark or I am too exhausted to do anything for me. An area that again needs much more improvement. As Dr. Siegel, an assistant clinical professor of psychology at Harvard Medical School, tells us, if we're not taking steps to improve our sense of well-being, we tend to gravitate back to the same level. About 40% of what determines happiness is under our control. In contrast, only about 10% has to do with good and bad fortune. As indicated by my emotional rating scale, it's not mostly events, but our responses to events that determines our level of well-being. Investing in ourselves personally, professionally, and emotionally is essential to our continued growth and success. I'd like to end this presentation with a poem I wrote. It is called It Is Time. It is time. Balance, mindfulness, self-awareness, looking inward and knowing who you are. It is time. Inquire, reflect, analyze, journal, prioritize. Patterns, trends, and moods. Authentic evidence. Dig deep within yourself. It is time. Personally, professionally, emotionally. Challenge status quo. Set boundaries. Stay true to your values. Non-negotiables, non-essentials. Perfection is not good for you. It is time. Preferred behavior, shake it up. Create space. Confidence, creativity, flexibility, and strong decision making. Well-being, wellness. Effective leaders. Now is the time.